Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how we took an ecom brand's email revenue from 12K a month to over 41K per month on autopilot. So let's get into the results here, just so you can see what that looked like. This was the before and after in a 60-day period. And here we are tripling the pop-up conversion rate as well. Being in the business niche, actually going up to nearly 3% was actually really, really good. Going over some major email deliverability improvement as well. Again, this is just in a 60-day period. And scrolling down here, this is what they were doing before partnering with us. So they were following outdated strategies, poorly set up flow automations, really low email engagement on some of their emails. And with the email design, it really lacked creativity and it was splashed and riddled with ChatGPT, which really isn't really a great look, even for a bit more of a B2B e-com store. And after partnering with us, they managed to outsource their email marketing completely because we do a full done-for-you service. And of course, this freed up a bunch of their time to work on bigger levers inside their business. And that included 2 new pop-ups, 6 SMS, and 8 email flow automations. And we built this all out in less than 30 days, which is pretty handy. And another high leverage thing we started doing was A/B testing those new pop-ups using the best industry practices. And overall, it created a system that generated a consistent and most importantly profitable revenue stream for their store pretty much on autopilot. So again, if you could just visualize this, it's probably looking a bit like this, just a money printer spitting out some money. It's exactly what we created for them. So if you don't know me, my name's Kieran. I'm the owner of Compound Flows. We're an email marketing agency that specializes in just D2C e-commerce brands. Here's a few brands we work with. And if you want to check out this document below, there'll be some links here, even in the video description. You can follow me on other platforms, of course. So how did we do it? Like I said, we're going to go through a step-by-step here. So we deployed our DICER protocol, which is really just diagnosing the problem, investigating their target market. So this was a brand that was more in the B2B niche and office furniture wear. Then we constructed their new flows, pop-ups, campaigns, and then we started refining on that, A/B testing and optimizing everything. So even a step down from that, this is exactly what we did, and we'll go through each step here. So we first ran an audit over their Klaviyo account, and then we came back to them what we recommended, they implemented, we grew on that, and then we started with the most highest leverage things possible, and that was building out some new pop-ups, incorporating and setting up a new SMS system as well, and revamping their flows with new designs, copy, and a new overall strategy. And then finally, we start setting up that A/B testing to further optimize it all. So again, that's kind of what we ordered in importance. And this is exactly how we did it. So moving on to the Klaviyo audits. Again, when we do this for brands, and we do it for pretty much everyone that we onboard, it's pretty we do like a big macro overview. We go through the email deliverability, how that was looking. In this case, it was pretty tough. Klaviyo has a little scoreboard, and it was only at 53 out of 100. And we managed to take that up to 70. And with the pop-up and list growth, we also go through that, like, what are they doing with their pop-ups? Have they got everything else in check in terms of opting in customers through the checkout process as well? And then we have a look over their flow automations, how many flows they have set up, how long are each of those flows, campaign strategy, how many campaigns are they sending, the copy and email design, and of course, if they are doing any A/B testing, we have a look at that as well, usually between the last 30 and 90 days. So moving on, we agreed on an effective solution. So we actually came back to them with what we call an action plan. We lay out all the recommended deliverables that need to happen to take their email revenue from A to B. In this case, it was from 12K per month to over 41K per month, which is pretty good. That's about a 30K increase in monthly revenue. And with these deliverables, with the action plan, we actually create a roadmap. So again, we're focusing on the highest leverage tasks first before we start focusing on some of the smaller ones, which is typically like the optimizations, A/B testing kind of stuff. So the high leverage tasks in this case was definitely the pop-up and the flow automations. this brand wasn't sending any campaign emails because we're still needing to build out their email list because they're still very new to email marketing. So step 3, this is when we started building out their pop-ups. And like I said before, we actually tripled their conversion rate over to nearly 3%. We got to 2.86%, which is really good. So before, they only had one pop-up for mobile and desktop, which isn't really great. That's not like good practice. And they weren't doing they were doing zero A/B testing whatsoever. With us, we tripled the opt-in rate. We created 2 distinct mobile and desktop pop-ups, and then we also incorporated SMS to start subscribing SMS subscribers as well. So why do we actually want to split up, mobile and desktop and have them as 2 separate pop-ups? Mainly because you can optimize each further and A/B test them more accurately. So that's kind of like an example of what that looks like right there. We rewrote the copy, so making it more punchy and clearer to read. So when the pop-up first pops up, the customer can read and see the offer, straight away within like half a second. And hey, shop now, 10% off. It's kind of like the first thing that they read. And yeah, we go down and we also change the exit button to be below the CTA button. So especially on desktop, people are really accustomed to just quickly, clicking out in the top right corner. That's a classic place for the exit button. So what we actually did here was remove that completely and put it below the CTA button. So we're almost forcing them to read, what we're offering on the pop-up, without them disregarding it, without really taking a second to, really internalize it. We also added in a little teaser, which again, that's missed a step here. But that's especially on the desktop version, because a lot of the website traffic here was actually on desktop. That increased conversions quite a lot. I wouldn't recommend adding that on mobile because it can clunky up the screen a bit, take up too much screen space on a small mobile device. But desktop, that was really, really good. And in terms of the targeting, so when the pop-up actually popped up onto the website, we were A/B testing that. And we were seeing that it was a bit too restrictive of what they currently had up, and only a handful of people were seeing a pop-up. So we actually changed the delay time to a shorter 12 seconds, so more people could see that before they clicked off the website. And moving on to incorporating SMS. So we did see an opportunity in starting to build an SMS subscriber list. So that meant first registering the SMS, and this brand was primarily sending to Australian customers. So that's where we had to register in. And then it's always best practice when signing up email and SMS subscribers is to make it a multi-step pop-up. So that's kind of what that looks like. We first ask for the email, then the next step, it doesn't show it here, but then we would ask for the SMS next. And what that does is it decreases the amount of friction that people have signing up. So instead of asking for the email and SMS at the same time, we're just asking them for the email first with one offer. And that was, something like a 10% basic discount. And then on the second step, we have another offer for SMS. So we kind of like separate the two. And that way we opt in a lot more people to email, and then the people who are really high intent can also get the SMS offer as well. So that worked. We operated that in, and then we started building out some core SMS flow automation. So that was the welcome flow, the embed and cart and checkout, embed and browse, and any shipment updates. Just because this was a big bulky furniture brand, so shipment updates were actually really, really important in terms of nurturing those customers and making sure they're updated about their large order. Moving on, revamping the flow automation. So this was where a lot of the results came from in terms of taking them from 12K a month to over 41K per month. So before us, again, like I said before, they had a very poor strategy. They gave away discounts without any real reasoning. That just didn't make sense. I think after the post-purchase, they just gave away a discount, with very little reasoning behind that. And short email flows, so that means fewer touch points with the customer. Again, not everyone sees their email or misses their email before it gets lost with the other 100 emails that they get sent that day. So just following up the customer a bit more and improving the touch points there, again, can generate you a lot more revenue. Copywriting, again, was riddled with ChatGPT. It was generic, long, and boring. So we actually made it much shorter and more punchier and more readable. And of course, when it's readable, it's more engaging for people to actually, take interest in. And the email design, again, it was very cookie cutter. It was, not too great, bit boring, bit dated. And the CTA buttons too, some of them were just too small to click, especially if you're looking at on mobile devices. So again, this is some of the examples of what they looked beforehand. Again, if you were looking at on mobile, that's pretty small to click. You wouldn't really even recognize that as a button. And that's pretty sure I'm using Klaviyo buttons. So with buttons on emails, you always really want to design them in another tool like Figma and create them much bigger. So when you are looking at on mobile, it's much more bigger and much more clickable, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here. And the other thing, which again doesn't really affect revenue too much, but in terms of clarity of mind and analyzing data, there was very little to no naming conventions, and all the flows just look very messy and uncoordinated. So we revamped all of it. So this is what they were looking before. Again, the banner cart flow, that's a really big revenue driver. They only had 2 emails set up and a 2-hour delay. If you don't know, you want to be really, most times 30-minute to 45-minute delay is much better than a longer 2-hour delay. So that was another thing we A/B tested and found that a shorter delay worked much better. So what we did, we revamped all the flows: welcome flow, abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, browse, post-purchase, abandoned site, customer win-back. We also revamped the copy and email design, following the best industry practices. And then, again, the most important part was actually expanding those flow automations, increasing those touch points, and actually educating the customers on, every single thing they had to offer in terms of guarantees, USPs, how shipping is going to work, because again, this was a furniture brand, and depending on their order, they had you could get a quote and actually get an install team come around to their house. So things like that we all had to educate them on, especially in the welcome flow. So if you see here, this was their old welcome flow. Again, only 3 emails long, which isn't too great compared to ours, which was a much longer flow, spanning around 6 emails there. And on their abandoned browse flow, again, another example, I only had 1 email set up here, which again isn't too great. If someone's taking interest in clicking on a product, you want to be following up those customers. So we actually made it into a 4-step email flow instead of just a 1. And here is an example of some of our designs, and kind of revamped and just modernized it a bit more. So this is the old one, and this is our new one here on the right. Much bigger buttons, clear, shorter text. As you can see here, this is a full paragraph. Imagine, looking this on mobile, it would even be even longer, just scrolling down until you find the very first button here. Whereas our email, it's all a design, it's all an image. So this would look the exact same as on desktop, as it would on mobile. And we have a much bigger clickable button up here, right up the very top. So if people were just to sign up and wanted to go and use their discount code straight away, the button is right there, and they can click on that. Super easy. You can make the guarantees, everything a bit bigger, a bit clearer, much bigger text, and all around just a bit more readable and enjoyable to even look at. So going down onto the last step here, which was the A/B testing and optimization. And again, one of those high leveraged A/B tests that we did was on the pop-ups, trying to optimize and convert more people there. And we found actually one really successful A/B test, and that was the desktop version of the pop-up. We found that 12-second delay converted much higher than an exit intent trigger. So that's when someone reaches their cursor up to click out of the page we found that just the delay, the 12-second delay, converted much higher. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you are an e-commerce brand yourself and you're looking at this video going, hey, I want those results as well, my email attributed revenue is only at 10%, 5%, we can help you, and we're actually offering to build you out a free flow for your store. So this is kind of some examples. This is kind of like the process. So we'll just hop on a call, see where we're currently at, see if it's even worth doing. And we can also get you a free Klaviyo audit as well. Here's the requirements. And if you're interested, there'll be a booking link at the bottom of this video to get started. So yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. And yeah, cheers.